VFX artists are always under a lot of pressure. We need to model, we need to texture, we need to light, we need to composite, and deadlines are to be met. But how does this impact our performance? In this video, we'll find out the best results a VFX artist can reach in the shortest amount of time. We are making 3 table scenes and you decide which one is best. Actually, it's 4, but the last one's a secret. I'm making a render in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and 3 hours. So the first one is going to be 10 minutes. I've got my timer right here. I've got my Blender open. And we're going to start right now. All right, so I already know what I want to do. I want to make a table scene. So we're going to bring in the cube, scale that shit like this. And now we've got a pretty good looking table. Now the table needs some things to sit on the table, namely a plate. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. We're going to bring it down. Hello. It's already way more stressful than I thought it would be. Ah, there it is. Now are we going to change this around like this? Boom. I'll add a subdivision surface modifier on it. So this looks, I guess, pretty decent. Back to reality. Whoa, there goes gravity. Yep. Let's bring in a cylinder. Let's put it on the table. Put your keys up on the table. You wanted to. And now we've got our glass base. Do this. I actually don't have time. Time is already running out. We're at 7 minutes 48 left. Making a decent render in 10 minutes is pretty hard. Can I even do this? I guess we can do it. Let's make it some mojito type glass, I guess. I don't know. All right, subdivision surface modifier, because that makes everything better. Looking fine and dandy. Fine and dandy. We need some cutlery. Definitely need some cutlery. Cube. Let's make it like this. It's probably too tall. We need to take this and bring it like that. That is, I don't know. Proportional editing, please. And let's round it off like that. I guess this is going to be it. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. I should probably texture this already, because we definitely need some time to get the scene right. Place everything in a nice composition. Right here, right there. I'm not sure whether knives are supposed to be laying on the right side, but they are now. Maybe we can do 35 millimeters. Let's just give it a random color for now. Oh, oh. Ah, that doesn't, oh, roughness. Bam. I kind of like the idea of this challenge, because now I'm forced to work really hard in a very short time. We do not have lighting as of yet. We're going to open Easy HDRI, then Quattro Quanti, create world nodes. All right, decent. So let's give this wood texture. Wood texture. 61. I don't know. Does it look good? Oh, it's not 61. We need 58. I'm not sure about this. UV editor. Let's switcheroo. Let's do a type of switcheroo. Switcheroo. It's a table, all right. Glass texture, just for the heck of it. Oh, wow, beautiful glass. Beautiful looking glass. There's no drink in it. There is no drink in my glass. P selection. Change the texture quite a bit, because we need it to be red. Red. I'm so happy. Okay, how much time do I have left? 2 minutes 45. Is this even possible to do in this time? Pretty awesome already. Let's put it like that. Boom. Global. Why global? A little bit of randomization. And so like this. This is very stressful. I forgot to put the drink in the other drinks. Control cursor to selected, Shift S, selection to cursor. Boom. 1 minute 50. Is there time for a cloud simulation? Probably not, but we're gonna try anyway. Alright, let's give this collision simplified. Let's do 60 times. Bam, cloth. Fall down. Alright, pretty cool. We're going to give it a nice texture. We need some texture, we need a cloth texture. What's it called again? A fabric. Silk fabric I see right here, that must be good. Ooh, it's very shiny. Okay, silk is pretty shiny, guys. Fabric. Oh god, I got 45 seconds left on the clock. Fabric 61. Don't disappoint me, Fabric 61. I don't know who you are. Everything into a cube. Now there's light coming into the cube, but I do not like the cube. I got 12 seconds left. We're going to make it black. Let's add one more point light. Ugh. Ah, all right, hands off. Hands off, this is the render. Oh boy. This looks like a render I would make when I just started out with Blender. It's terrible. But at least in 10 minutes I managed to convey an idea, and I hope we can all see that this is a table with some stuff on it. So that's something. Look, this render lacks a lot of things. Models, randomization, composition, lighting, texturing, pretty much anything. So I'm going to rate this 2 out of 10 because at least we can recognize what it is meant to represent. But I'm sure we can do it much better in the 30-minute render. Now that I already know what I want to do, I just have to do the same thing but better. And given the fact that I've got a lot more time, I've got some more time to spend on models, texturing, and maybe making the render overall a little bit better. So let's give it a try. 30 minutes. Oh, I actually only got 3%. 30 minutes. Starting right now. Alright, so I've got Blender open, we've got 30 minutes right now. I'm going to delete the cube, bring in a new cube, because that's mandatory in the Blender community, if you didn't know already. I need to make a plate. It's going to be a good plate. This time. Or is it going to be a soup plate? Bring it down. What a beautiful plate. And it's on the table, sir. Thank you very much. Like this. RX90, bring it up, cylinder, 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 cylinder. Now it's straight down. Let's go. All right, that's looking great. With the bottom actually flat. Use this 3D cursor to scale it down like this. All right, it's already looking a lot better. Fork, knife, spoon. We've got the fork, knife, spoon, people. Let's check it out. Let's make some fork, knife, spoon. Ooh, am I gonna go for a cylinder or cube? I already went for the cube. The trusted cube. Look at this, mamma mia. And then we're going to make some magic happen. This is starting to go somewhere. It's a spoon, all right? I've already blasted through 10 minutes. Oh my god, this is not good at all. I'm taking way too much time. It's definitely a knife. Alright, am I happy with this design? Heck yeah, I am. 18 minutes left. I want to do different things except for making cutlery. Let's place our camera once again, same position. So let's first of all make a better background than we had in the last one. Right here we're going to add a cloth. Set the quality to 10. It's flying. 14.5 minutes left. Oh, this is terrible. Oh no. No, I cannot do this. I have to redo it. Oh man, this is very stressful. 14 minutes. Alright, it's already looking better. Please don't fly. Okay, it's flying. Everything that goes up has to come down as well. Oh, it's curling around itself. Just a little bit more. Come on. I don't want to disappoint you guys, you know? 14 minutes. 13.5 minutes left. Ah. Juice. We can work with this. And we're just going to sneakily place it like this. It looks a lot better already. I want to see my passepartout. Vue pour display, passepartout. Vue pour display, passepartout. And now we're going to place some textures on this. Going for a Delft Blauw. And let's project from view. Pretty good. UV texture on the Geishimas. It's going to be gold, boys, because I happen to know by heart that gold is metal 007. Cool, cool, got it. Glass. And now the table. Let's bring in an HGRI. The table just sucks. Let's stop. Stop right there, sir. Why can I not select a good wood texture just for the first time? I'm going to have to roll with this. Would you like to have a drink, sir? Eh? Wait a minute. This needs to be red. How much time have I got left? 7 minutes. Fabric. How about a red one? 23, you red? Doesn't matter, not red, but it's fine. Mirror on the Y global. Not excited about this glass, so it should be empty. Empty it is. Tablecloth, why is it not working? What's going on? Not even sure what this is though. Who uses a tablecloth like this? Doesn't matter, it's artistic choice. To be honest, I thought I would be moving slower, but it's actually going quite quickly. Let's go, baby. 3.5 minutes to make the composition work. Not good. It's definitely not good. I'm done with this. I cannot spend any more time. Alright, like this. Let's see what it looks like. Let's just give it another fabric material real quick. Real quickaroo. 2.5 minutes left. I'm definitely slacking off. If we don't use deadlines, we would just work on a render forever and it will never get done because it's never good enough. I wish 3D work was easier, but quite frankly, it isn't. It just costs a lot of time. I think this render is a lot better than the previous one, but it's still quite below my satisfaction level. At least we have some bokeh, and the background is not just some white wall, but it isn't the type of render that I would proudly show off to my friends or in a professional portfolio. And now for this image, I'm going to rate it a 5 out of 10. The composition at least is a little bit better, the lighting is a little bit better, we don't have a white wall background, there's actually some beautiful curtains. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. So let's see what I can do in 3 hours. Okay, so the battery of my camera died and now I have to do this voice recording, which is not bad at all because now I'm going to give you some free nuggets that I did not discuss in the video itself. But I'm going to tell you some things about achieving realism and stuff like that. First of all, what I did is I modeled a chandelier. The chandelier was pretty easy to model because I had a blueprint of it, which I found online on Google. And the thing is, this chandelier makes the scene a whole lot better. Why? Because the model is just simply good and very eye-catching. I believe that it adds a lot to this render. Modeling it was pretty easy if you just follow the blueprint. And what I did is I modeled most things simply using cylinders and just scaling, extruding, etc. Very easy. And most of these other parts I used paths to let it follow the path. And then I just duplicated it around, made sure that it follows the right trajectory. And it's as simple as that. I actually spent a lot of time on the chandelier. I spent about 40 minutes. But you know what? It's totally worth it. Because if you have a good model, it will already increase the quality of your scene. And this is a very elaborate model, meaning that it will also take up a lot of visual space in this scene and seem very interesting without doing too much work. At this point, I thought I would never be on time. And here I made some cutlery once again. I will not bore you by showing the same footage over and over again, so I kind of skipped over it. I just simply made sure that the models were a lot better than the previous ones, and I also changed the color of the gold using a hue and saturation node so that it would be more silver, and I played around a bit with the roughness and the normal map, etc. to make it a little bit better. Now for the chair, I simply modeled an outline and then I made these balls which I had follow around a path with an array. I've got some tutorials on this, you can check it out. And then in order to make the chair not seem so amateuristic, I decided to sculpt some part of it so that it seems way more detailed than it actually is. These are not necessarily forms that are logical, but they do add a lot to the chair. So I just sculpted, make sure that it's a lot more random and interesting looking than the original base model. I did the same for the underside of the chair, which is just simply modeling, make sure that we follow the reference image. And then I sculpted some more so that it also is consistent with the top of the chair and it doesn't seem to be standing out too much. I then arrayed the chairs, I arrayed the plates, I arrayed the glass, which I'm going to make right now. It's a wine glass. Once again, simple modeling, extruding, scaling, you know the deal. Using glass and reflective surfaces in your scene is very beneficial because it adds a lot of detail in the reflections. I then ran into a little problem with the chair because I had to select those middle parts, but those were all broken up because I sculpted it. Should have thought about that before, but I simply selected all of it and I made sure to project from view. And then I just added the cushions on there without actually having to model that cushion type. Same goes for the chandelier, just texturing it and placed a random gold texture on it. Didn't do much with it afterwards besides that, and I gave those little balls a kind of glass texture. Even at 3 hours, I'm stressing out. This is hard. Is this enough? Will it actually look good? I highly doubt it. Now for this render, I also wanted to add some food. So I simply took an image texture of a steak from Google Images. And then I projected it onto a modeled steak, which I also sculpted just a little bit. And then I simply array everything, make sure that it's standing on a table. I wanted to have a more luxurious table this time instead of just a normal people table, and make sure to randomize everything. So what I did is I placed some glasses to the left, some glasses to the front, right, back, you know. Then afterwards I still wanted to have those curtains because I really liked that about the previous render. Gives a lot of detail. Gives a lot of shadows and cool background effects simply by using a cloth, and cloths are very effective for a lot of things. And in this case it simply made the background of my render a lot more interesting. I also decided to model a pan because, yeah, it's a great luxurious scene, so there should probably be a big pan with some luxury food in it. There's no food in it, just saying, but it does seem a lot more interesting right now. And I also decided to make a piece of cloth right there so that there's actually something to wipe your hands on that table. It just makes a lot of sense. Then I scaled the plates and I scaled the spoons and made some smaller plates and smaller spoons. All this to just add a little bit more flair to the table so that it's not too empty. It has to be filled up with stuff so that you will not be able to recognize the order of it. And here I used a very specific lighting trick in which I just plugged in a Voronoi texture into the light itself, because you can use nodes in cycles for your lighting, and this always adds a lot of texture to your renders, making it seem way more interesting instead of using just a simple point light or just an area light without the texture in it. So definitely adds a lot to the scene, as you can see, and I use this very often because it's just such a great trick. And you're probably also noticing that I'm spending a lot more time working with the lighting, and that's because lighting is such an important feature of any render. It's probably the most important. And we're nearing the end here. I was not happy with the back plate, so I decided to make some sort of window. I gave it a simple wood texture, and here I cheated my way into some extra detail by using a path. Once again, give it a gold texture. The thing is, it's actually a rubbish model. It doesn't look good at all, but since it's in the background and we used a bokeh, we are not able to see this. And my time's up. So this is the 3-hour render. I've got one more render after this one where I actually finish everything because I still wasn't happy. This is the 3-hour render. It could just use some work. 3 hours did indeed bring a better result than 30 minutes and 10 minutes. We can see with each time increasement, there's a quality improvement. I think one thing to keep in mind is that when VFX artists are put under pressure, they will not perform better. They will not make better art. There is a certain threshold to where things are acceptable, but they will not make better art in a shorter amount of time. It just doesn't work that way. However, I also recognize the other side of this equation, namely that deadlines can actually help us move faster. Because sometimes when you're doing Blender, you're not really thinking about moving fast. You're just thinking about making a render. And working with the deadline actually helps ourselves with working towards a certain direction so that we can move efficiently. Instead of wandering around and doing something here, doing something there, we can actually allocate our time to be spent on something useful. But the real question is, where is the golden mean? When does the deadline actually impair our work? And when does the deadline actually help us improve quality in a faster amount of time so that we can push out more types of content, so that we can make more shots, more 3D? For the rating of this image, we can already see there's a lot more high value assets. There's a lot more going on. There's some randomization. We still got our bokeh, but overall, the render is not good enough. Maybe you're thinking I'm being a bit too harsh on myself. And that is true, because we need to be harsh on ourselves, we need to be critical, and we need to make sure to improve our renders day by day. So I'm going to rate it a 6.5 out of 10. Why a 6.5? Well, because I still believe that the setup of the render was pretty decent. With some minor adjustments, we can actually make it look well. With the other renders, this was not the case. We cannot make it look well within less than an hour, let's say. But this one, if we just move the camera a little bit, we can actually use it and make it look decent enough. So I think 6.5 is a pretty fair rating for this image. And now for the final image, I'm not going to give my rating because I'm really interested in hearing what you think of this render. So in the comments, let me know what you think on a scale from 1 to 10 and what I can improve on. Okay, so now there's actually story. There's a lot more going on. There's a king sitting in a room in a luxurious table, and there's people who died, they got murdered because, well, he had to take the throne. And we see a lot of chaos on the table, things are broken, there's a chair knocked over, every chair is rotated. The glasses, they have different amounts of wine in them. I've actually used paintings to guide the story some more. The left painting is The Fall of Phaeton from P.P. Rubens, my favorite painter, and it signifies something about suburbia, or what do you call it in English? Let me look that up real quick. Pride, the word is pride. Although I do not think that's the perfect translation, it's alright. On the right side we have a story from Levi, and it's DQ Smoose who was the console and who died. So I think the paintings add a lot to this render. Also, I did a lot of things in DaVinci Resolve to make it better. Not only did I film myself in 4K in order to place myself into the scene, because those are not 3D models, that is just me. We can go over a couple of things that we can see. So there's some food in the background. I've also placed some blood on different areas. There's a person with a sword sticking out of him on the right side of the table. There's also a person on the left sitting against the wall. This was also done to obfuscate the harsh digital line. And in the next video I'm going to break down this render entirely, giving tips on modeling, texturing, lighting, even rigid bodies. Some simple tricks to make your render seem more real, but also on how to use symbolism and story to improve your art. So let me know in the comments what you think and subscribe. So one more time, this is the 10-minute render, and then we have the 30-minute render. For the 3-hour render it looks like this, and then for the final render, on which I spent 11 hours in total, it looks like this. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to know how I made this render, then I highly recommend watching this video next.